So another part of doing your turbo build is doing a different map sensor. The original map sensor is tucked in the back of the manifold, intake manifold here. You can see the wires when you look down the side. You want to leave the original map sensor in place just because it seals a hole, but you need a 3-bar map sensor to read higher levels. So the one I've been recommended, or one I've heard people talking about, is the GM map sensor. This is a Chinese copy, hoping it's going to be okay. And basically you need to find a VAC reference source, and just so happens on a right hand drive car you've got your brake vacuum right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount my new map sensor on this back panel, and then I'm going to tee it into this vacuum source here. So very short vacuum line. And then what you need to do is you then need to splice the connector into the original wiring. What I'll do is I'll put up a diagram about that in the video, because off the top of my head I don't know it. And what I've done is, at the moment I've ordered another one of these plugs, so I can do my own fly leads, make them longer. Probably I've ordered some wire to do them the same color as the other ones, because that's just the way I like to do things, to make it try an OEM, and if anyone comes along at a later date then obviously it matches up and things like that. So what I want to do here is get that onto the firewall. What I'm going to do is I've ordered some M6 stainless button head bolts, so they slide nicely through there. These are 35mm long. And then what I've got is I've got a couple of aluminium riv nuts, M6, and I'm going to drill holes into this back panel, set these riv nuts in, pull those up to give me a thread in the back, and then I can bolt straight into that back panel and keep it nice and neat right there. So next I need to work out where I want the actual controller. Somewhere around there. I've got a punch. Right, there's my dot, so that's where I'm going to drill. Just going in with the last drill. That was easy because I'd opened it up already. It's such thin sheet metal that it hasn't done a very nice hole. Need to get the riv nut obviously to fit through, which it now does. So there's the riv nut placed in. Place it on the gun. Basically it's called a riv nut because it's just like a rivet. So basically when you pull this, pulls that threaded part back, crushing the riv nut and basically putting the big head behind and securing it. Also has serrated top to try and give it some grip, so it doesn't turn. So you basically just put it in. And there's your riv nut. So once I got the first bolt in, I've done it up enough that I can then, I've eyeballed that it's level. Then just need to get my punch again. Place it through the other hole. Yeah, looking pretty good. Hopefully this one will still be working fine. Seems to be. There you go, solid on there. I've got some 6mm silicone vac hose, that's 6mm. This is the vac line to the brakes, and this is where I'm going to plumb in my T. So I bought a T off eBay, so this is 8mm both ends that end, and 6mm this end. So that is meant to be for the vac line, so that's going to be fine. Going to neaten that up. So I'm going to cut into my vac line and get that started. Got a couple of OEM style clips. They don't seem that strong, so we shall see if these are going to work long term. But, that's the idea. Not as strong as the OEM ones, but right. And then that, like that. There's my T. Bring the clips in. Trying to give again an OEM type style to it. I haven't got any little clips for these, but just because it's just a vac line, I'm going to do what other people have done, and that's use some cable ties and give that a go. If it ends up not working, then I'll try a different method. Actually, I'll blow that through. So one goes on to the math, and then obviously do this as nicely as possible. Literally only needs to be like that. So let's take it there. Okay. That slides on into there. Looks nice and neat. Gonna need some more vac line for other sensors, so that's fine. Let's see if this works out. Just gonna put that the other side of the main barb. Pull that tight. There we go. One. And then again, get it behind the barb on the end of the plastic with the MAP sensor. That shouldn't pop off there. Tight. There you go. So other than the wiring, that is the MAP sensor in. So we're looking at the MAP wiring. I've got a 3-bar sensor, GM 3-bar sensor that I've mounted to the firewall. I've mounted it around that way with the plug going in on top of the sensor. So I've ordered the right wiring. So we've got on this side of things is the GM wiring loom. So this is the sensor. You've got your ground in blue, you've got your constant voltage in yellow green, and then you've got your signal in blue yellow. And then you transfer that over to the GM. You've got the same things. You've got your 5 volt, which is your constant. You've got your ground and your output voltage, which is your signal wire. So, sorry for my crude diagram, but basically this is your plug, this side with the clip on top, and you've got, so you'll have yellow green, which is your constant voltage, which is going to your 5 volts, which is C. You've got your blue on the other end, which is your ground, which is going to A, which is ground, and then you've got your signal, which is the blue yellow on this side going into B. So that's how you'd wire it up. So again, you've got your parts to your connector, you've got the actual plug, you've got the little seals, and then you've got the terminal plugs. So so let's start with the blue. So take the blue, we're going to slide on the seal. I have to admit they're a little bit big, so probably not going to seal that well, but it should be fine underneath the bonnet. And then we need, what I've noticed is they've got very big gripper there, so I think we need to trim down the sheathing grip. Just cut it down slightly, because it can go a bit wrong if you leave it too long. That's that. Then we need to expose some wire. There we go. And then this is going into our plug there. So again, these inner tabs are the ones that are going to grip around the bare wire, and then this just grips the outer sheathing. So grab your tool, get that nice and gripped on. So there we go, so that's gripped on there, and then got to bend these outer ones in, so I'm glad that I made them a bit shorter. And then they've gripped onto the sheath, so that's good. So with regard to our diagram here, so blue, so when the plug's sitting this way, the clip on the top, the blue is going in A, which is this far one here. So let's click that in. Locked in. And then I'm going to push the seal in after it. Like I said, it looks like the seals are a little bit big, so they've gone in really easily. So that's your first wire done there. Then what do we need now then? So B is going to be the signal, which is your blue yellow. And that is our signal wire. So our signal wire here, blue yellow going to the signal, which is B, which is the middle terminal. Feel it click in, so that's great. Your other one is your yellow green. Just remember to put the seal on, it's easier to put it on this end. Let's find the connector, which is on the floor. And so this is your green yellow, or yellow green, sorry. And that's your 5 volts, and that's going into that side of your clip. So you just need to clip that in. Right, okay, and then we've got the so when I ordered this seal, it actually came with the other side of it, which I don't need. Obviously the wires aren't in, but what you do then is once you've got that, so yellow green, blue yellow, and then your blue, got this little back bit that clips up, so that's your cabling. And then obviously I'm not going to use this bit, but it mirrors what the other one's going to be, and that's your wiring going into your map sensor. I've got some sheathing to go on, and a little bit of heat shrink, so I'll neaten all of this up. So the next bit of the map sensor, which is located at the back of the car here. So basically the new map is on the back here. You've seen me install that. So what we're having to do now is making a Loom extension to go into the standard wiring. A lot of people would just snip off the plug. You can do that, and then you'd need to get a three-way connector to be able to connect this Loom to that Loom. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep all the OEM plugs on the car if I could. So it seems I don't really know what the the name of that plug is, but the only way I could find the other side to that plug was either from Thailand or from USA. Ridiculously expensive. It's probably the cheapest piece of plastic. It's come with the connectors, but cheapest bit of plastic you could ever get. It was cheapest to get it from America, I think. Crazy, it was like $12 plus $20 shipping. But you know, that's just, you don't have to pay that, but that's what I did because I wanted to basically make a Loom extension that I can plug in here, plug in there, and then take off if I wanted to. So obviously we've got this one, which should, in theory, so that goes on there. I'm obviously going to put wire coating and everything on here, some sheathing, but I just need to get basically what distance I need. So I've just wedged the phone in on, so nice and close. So this is the plug that comes off your map sensor. You can get some hands in here. So this is then the plug I bought from America. That goes in there, extends that plug. So I've measured how long I want this. Well, I haven't measured how, sorry, I've marked, held where, how long I need it, and we're looking at, so from the back of the plug all the way through, so that's 27 centimeters is where I'm going to cut it. I'm going to put my new connectors on the end there, and then we're going to put this plug on. So we're now looking to wire the other end of our map cable. So obviously on one end we've got the plug that goes into the map, and then we need to make the other connection with the plug into the main loom. So this is how it looks. Just take that away for a second. So with the plug facing that way, with the clip on the top, we've got the blue this side. We've then got an unused terminal. We've then got yellow-green, and then finally blue-yellow on the other side. So now what we need to do is need to get some sheathing and shrink wrap and everything onto the cables, and then fix these terminals, click them in, and then that will be your finished Loom extension. So when we were downstairs, from the back of that plug, we need it to be 27 centimeters, which is there. Get them uniform, and then take the plunge. Okay. So that is going to be the length of this extension piece. So I've put the outer covering on, and then I've got a piece of heat shrink. It's a little bit long because the covering was starting to fray, and I haven't got really any more of it. So let's give this a go. Doesn't take long. You don't need much. So this is, you won't be able to see that, and it might not even be written on that bit. I think it is. This is 6mm shrink wrap, and it seems to be working fine. So that's one end done. So you want to put all your bits on in the right order. So obviously the first bit to go in is the heat shrink for this end. Put that on. And then you've got the little seals. Should be easy to put on, but I'm fumbling the ball. There we go. Some strips and wire. So I've stripped the wire off the ends. Again, like we had before, I think these end tabs are a little bit too big to bend over properly on this wire. So I'm just going to nip off a little bit. So rubbish out of the way. So this is what we're looking at. So a quick little twist just to neaten them up and keep the strands together. And then place the wire into that section there, and then this section will crimp round the insulation. Get your appropriate tool. Crimp those hard together. It crimps down on it like that. Bend these little tabs together a little bit. A little bit more. And then crimp those as well, and that will secure it onto the sheathing. There we go, so we've got all three connectors on there. We bring in our little diagram again. I want to get these in the right one. So we've got the blue at the bottom. I don't know which way these go around, but we'll give it a go. Maybe not that way. Yep, so they go in what feels to be upside down. So there you go, that's blue in there. We've then got a gap, so we need to miss one. And then we've got yellow, green, which is this one. Push it in till you feel a click. And then we've got blue, yellow on the other side. Fantastic. Then we've got our little seals. I'm going to go and get my little screwdriver so I can do those. So we're just going to push these seals in. That. So then I'm going to slide the heat shrink up to cover that horrible mess at the end. And like that, let's just make sure. So we've got a connector with a plug there. We've got blue on this side. We've got a gap. You can see there's no pin in there maybe, but there's a gap. Then we've got yellow, green, and then blue, yellow. So let's just finish that off with the heat gun. Before I burn my fingers. So there you go. That is your completed map extension cable. Looking pretty good. Looking nice and covered, nice and OEM. I like that. That's good.